Tidewater and wake lap the recessions of blackened slickshore ledges, making part-time pools and saltwater bubble islands. Fragile and temporary, floating like froth, formed and expired in a flash. Silent pops their undoing, or slippery one-way slides, carrying them swiftly back to the sea.
Great. So, having picked out a few of those techniques in the poem, were you able to kind of follow a little bit more in hearing it again?
Definitely.
And that I think sound is a very important aspect for the vision that is trying to be made. And that's something you could be aware of today, and probably you are in the poems that you write, and especially when they're watery poems. The choice of letters and the sounds they make is very important to the image that we receive. That was very beautiful. Okay, do we have another one that could be read?
Are these ones that just like other people have made, but we can read them?
Just Lee has them, right? These older ones.
Right. I think Audra means, should she read from another poet? Am I right, Audra, instead of your own original work?
Yeah, sorry, I phrased that badly.
No, you did.
So,
yeah, let's do it. Who is the author?
Well, this was just the short one I wanted to read you guys last time, the Red Wheelbarrow.
Oh, nice.
You probably all heard it before. Yeah. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow, glazed with rainwater beside the white chickens. By Robert Frost. I just love that one because it's like so simple, yet it's just like awesome. Yeah.
Is it Wallace Stevens?
William Carlos.
Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry, William.
Okay,
Carlos.
William Carlos Williams. Thank you.
Sorry, yeah, I said the wrong author.
I love that one, Audra.
Me too.
It's a fun one.
Architect to the rescue.
Yeah, definitely. Well, also, I mean, here's a poem, one image really, and it just relies on the contrast of color, the red and white, and that little lead-in sentence, so much depends on. It's sort of like the end of a long essay, but you could sort of imagine the kinds of guidance somebody would give you beforehand, and then you would, that would sort of wrap it up right there. So much depends on whether you can put in the image and the color, make it so vivid that the reader will remember it. You chose a very famous poem, and that's a person you might want to study more of sometime, and you might when you're off to college, right? William Carlos
Yeah.
Williams. Yeah, that's great. Have you taken some courses in poetry?
Just in high school doing literature, English class. Yeah, we read the standard poems. Oh, and then when I was in Wisconsin, yeah, we read a lot of nature poems. Trying to think of like Hawthorne and who else? Oh, what's his name? It'll come to me.
There's no rush whatsoever. Okay, can any sound lacking having the Red Wheelbarrow. Is there any other poem that anybody have their hands on or remembers that they would like to say now that has to do a little bit with nature or with some of the techniques that we're talking about, sound and color?
Sound and color isn't part of my poem, but I can read it.
Okay, that would be great. Can you tell us the title of it?
I don't have a title, but let's see. The title would be Frozen frozen in time. Something about frozen.
Okay, frozen in
Okay,
time.
sorry.
Something.
It's not coming to me, but okay. uh, Halfway between what it is and who it will be, a tadpole pokes its eyes above the water, its webbed feet just below the sandy shore. It doesn't blink, it doesn't move, it's frozen in place as its future awaits. Once two webbed rear feet replaces the strange stump of its tail. My camcorder captures this moment in time of contemplation in sand and still water, and I wonder who I am in this moment and who I will be. Yeah.
I like that. That kind
Beautiful.
of reminds me, Judy, of the type of poetry
Oh, it gave me
I write.
chills.
Gave you chills. Well, I tried to capture. I mean, I had my camera, watching this tadpole, and it was just in between worlds, and that's what I'm trying to convey.
Mhm.
It was at the. It's almost as if it wanted to go on shore, but it knew it couldn't yet.
It's very-
So anyway, any feedback you can give me would be good.
I think you get that across the physical, with the physical senses and about its stillness, its frozenness, its inability to move. But then you also, in such a short time, make a connection to questioning who you are too. And that's a big leap. And it's, I think you do it very delicately. So did other people get that sense too, that she had that connection to herself in watching the tadpole, or frozen in time? Maybe that sense of things.
Yeah, and what was the last line, Gail?
Uh, I wonder as well who I am in this moment and who I will someday be.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. It's like the moment itself is the ice, but it will change. But it will change.
It always does,
But I also like that whole sense of the tadpole having these emerging webbed feet, and that whole that's going to move and transition it to this whole other world that it's moving into of land, and that whole sense that you need to develop your feet. I just thought that was very cool.
Oh, that's
well.
a
What you said, Judy? Is it Judith?
Yeah, I'm Judith. Yeah, Judy.
Yeah. About color, and I think I could have added some descriptive there, like soft sand and the color of everything that was around me might have helped, to bring it alive a little more.
Sure. I think, whenever you can engage some more senses, it usually helps the reader. But yeah, you could give it a little try with that, something about color or texture, things like that. A little bit.
Poetry is very new to me, and I'm very linear thinker usually, and I'm a reporter. I've been a reporter all my life, and I want to become more creative and introspective in using language. So
I think that's fascinating, really, to know that. But in poetry, you could really stretch the truth, so that, or observe. You can have a point of view that is very special to you, and not have to be you know, like a reporter would, staying out of it personally. So
it doesn't have to be literal.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It can be symbolic, right?
Right.
Stand for you, all those things. So do you study with somebody? Is there a poetry group that you are in?
I'm in a creative writing group. With Linda Hamilton, who attended last week's session, and Robin, who hopefully will be joining us. And we found out about this, and we're just looking to develop our poetry abilities.
That's great. We're glad to hear that.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll stay in touch somehow.
I hope so.
Now
Yeah.
let's see. And let's see, is it Laurel? Is that how we say your name?
Lorelei.
Lorelei.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Do you have something that you would like to read?
I have my daughter Maya here. I don't know if you can see her.
Oh, okay.
And I have a poem that she wrote that she said I could read. It's got.
Oop, you froze.
What's that?
Oh, it looked like you were frozen for a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know. You know how it is up here.
Yeah.
But I have a poem that she wrote. She said I could read. It's got a lot of nature in it, but it's not about nature. Is that okay?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, though. So, and she has another one for any time that another one she wrote about nature. So this is called Belly Laugh. I see you both, heads thrown back, mouths open, guffaws like thunderous waves surge through the house as painted ceilings chip from the force and walls heave with joy. It brings me sharply to the warm nights where the bees buzzed lazily and burgers sizzled on the grill, filling the air with sweet smells. Someone must have told a joke to make you both laugh like that. One my mother, the other a friend so close I call her mom. Oceans are pouring out of them, drowning us all and reflecting the setting sun's glint and shine. The wave envelops us and pulls us under. We blink the sting from our eyes and regain our balance. In this new light of cachinnation, the flowers glow and the bees have never been so fluorescent. Your laughs are the trumpets in an orchestra. They help me find you in a crowd. They are the sound of home, safety, family, love. They are a net that rescues me from my nightmares and holds me in its tight embrace. I am drawn with you to rise to the surface as you both gasp for air.
That's wonderful, really.
Wow,
Amazing.
that's really nice.
It is. Where's the daughter?
She's hiding.
Can we see you? What's your name?
Maya.
Maya. Okay. Were you with us last time when
No.
we met? No. Are you still around here? Are you in college or?
Yeah, I go to school in Saratoga Springs in upstate New York.
I see. So here you are.
Yeah, we have a camp at Westways since the 70s, so we come up every summer.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's wonderful. What a great place too. Well, that's a very tightly constructed, incredibly visual, and just engages all of our senses, and very complex poem, really, I think, that might reflect the person that you're really describing too. And I think quite wonderful. Have you published some poetry in school journal?
No, I haven't published
that?
a creative writing minor. I really like writing poetry and books, but I just haven't gotten around to actually publishing it. I did handwrite and hand illustrate a book of poetry
for her mother
as a Mother's Day gift.
Good. Well done.
12, 13 pages of, I just handwrote everything and then illustrated it with mostly colored pencils. I made the mistake once of using oil paint. That didn't go well.
Well, in this poem, it seems, did you give it a lot of thought before you started, or did it come out?
If I remember when I wrote it, I just kind of wrote it out and then I went back and edited through it a little bit just to tighten it up.
Can I tell the history?
Yeah.
I'll share the history from what my perspective is. I remember Maya was actually still in high school when she wrote this, and it was part of an assignment where she had a random word generator and she was given the word belly laugh. So she had to use that to write this poem, and she was in her room looking very sad. So when I walked by, so I asked her why, and she showed me this poem with red scribbles on it from her teacher, and she didn't know even how to begin to look at the critique that was being given from her teacher. So I said, well, let me just read what her comments are so you don't get overwhelmed. And basically her teacher was just saying, you have too many metaphors, stick with one and follow it through. So we sat together and I said, you know, I think this whole ocean metaphor will carry you through the whole poem. So she went back and reconstructed the poem, just focusing on the ocean metaphor. And this is what she ended up with.
Well, that was very good guidance. But I really think you have a very good sense of language and word selection and just recreating image in such a strong way. Very beautiful. And I hope that, are you ready, just, you know, generally?
We'll miss that. We'll get it looked
Oh,
out.
sorry, yeah. I just wondered if you're still, do you write poetry like from time to time?
Yeah, I write a bit of poetry still. I write music a lot, and I've been working on a book.
Oh, so a book fiction or poetry?
Young.
Oh, wonderful.
But her lyrics are very beautiful. When she writes musical lyrics, they're very beautiful.
Oh, fabulous. Well, yes.
Lorelei, how in the world did you read that without, it didn't look like your tears came to your eyes. Tears would have come to my eyes.
Choke up every time I do.
Okay.
And that was the first time I didn't choke up like I usually do.
That was, wow.
Funny that you noticed that. That's funny.
Well, so far we have a great collection of poetry coming from our little group here. So I hope that people will feel comfortable sending it to be part of the publication that gets made. Is that true, Lee, that they could send to you, or
They
what
can
do you
send
think?
to me. Yeah, they can send to me. What we'd like to do is put on our Nature Naturally page on the website, I'll make a button and then we'll load in the poetry so people can read the poems that were generated. We used to also do it with the library, but I'm not really sure what's going on with that. So I don't know if they'll publish them as well, but we certainly will.
Good. That's great. Thank goodness. What beautiful work is coming out of this. So is there anybody else who has a poem right now they wish to read? Lee? Okay.
Well, first, I'd like to read I'm one of Linda's poems, and it's the poem she wrote during the workshop last week. It was generated by that. So it's called "The Secret Place" by Linda Hamilton. I found the perfect spot to build my nest inside this conifer. Not too high, it's just the best place to be. No one can see us.
Robin, yeah, it's just like
I'm muted.
Oh, I don't know what's causing that. Okay.
I don't know. Someone unknown is joined us. Someone unknown. Can you tell us who you are?
Oh, wait, I have to mute myself. That's what's going on. Sorry.
Well, is it the two of you? Yeah. Okay, I'll start over. Okay. Sorry, I was checking to see if I was muted. The Secret Place by Linda Hamilton. I found the perfect spot to build my nest inside this conifer, not too high, it's just the best place to be. No one can see us as they pass by. I fly inside the little hole in the branches and out again, no one knows. I bring the worms and beetles too. My chicks squirm, hungry. I think they grew. Already stronger day by day. Seems like they just hatched yesterday. Oops, Judy, you have to unmute. This is where we all get mixed up, right?
Well, she has it's a very formal poem, a form, you know. Okay, that's okay. Yeah. You can come sit over here, hon, if you want to. We're just trying to get.
As long as he physically distances himself.
It might all turn off if he turns it off. So she, that was written by Linda. Is that right?
Yes.
And tell me again what she's involved in otherwise. Or
she's part of the writing group that Gail was talking about. Is that what you mean?
Yes, she's part of the creative writing group, and she does yoga. She's a yoga teacher.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And she does some songwriting too. She was part of the songwriting group in Denmark, and she could just whip them off. I am amazed. I think Lee, didn't she write that on the spot?
Yes, she wrote it during the workshop last week.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, okay. I'm starting to put it together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is great. And does she do like recordings too, or does she make songs to some of the poems?
Not yet. I've been encouraging her, but not yet. But the songs are great.
Yeah, she has a real sense of structure, and a form, I think. So, well, these poems are really beautiful, and I know that there probably will be a way that they can be published in a little magazine, informal magazine that that people could add to for a while, you know, that before it got too formalized. Just trying to think, like, is there a person of all the group of writers that we've been hearing who has a way of putting together things on the computer, like from different people?
Audra does. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, it takes a little time.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that sounds good.
Could you what you're asking? Like, do you mean somebody who can put together what on the computer?
A little booklet, like a little to just, you know, take the poems that we've been hearing and some of the other poems by people and put it together in an informal booklet that just could be printed off the print machine and then made some copies of.
Well, if the poems would be sent to me, I could figure something out. Yeah.
Well, it's like Lee has all of our emails. She could email. We could email the written copy to her.
Yeah.
And then it could be forwarded to whoever wants to do it, or if you want to do it, Lee.
Yeah, well, we can figure that out after the fact.
Yeah.
We'll figure something out.
So I'm just thinking about other themes and techniques in poetry, as long as we're looking at each other and so forth, and thinking about the places we've been up here. And I was thinking about, I guess I've been thinking about size, because, you know, we're looking out at the mountains, at the White Mountains, across the lake, and we're also looking at just tiny little things, you know, like seed pods and little birds and the loons swimming by and their offspring, and we hear, you know, really big sounds, you know, like sometimes wind and thunder, and sometimes small sounds like individual birds. So there might be something about contrast that you could use in new poems. That I'm thinking about writing some new poems. Like just, I was even thinking about it right now. But you know, before I go on with that, did everybody get to read something who wanted to read? Lee, you didn't, right?
Right.
No, 2 more people. Bob has something.
And it looks like Maya has something as well. So
Okay, well, let's go on with that. But just remind me before we end. I just want to finish that thought.
And I did put our time slot to 6:45. I don't know if people can go that long, but just
okay.
I stuck it there.
Okay.
So
yeah.
who's going to go next?
Well, let's hear Bob next, and then and then we'll go on. Lee, we'll have a few other poems here. Come sit here, and I'll stand by. Oh,
Is this it? This is it?
is it a poem from there? Wait, okay, we're gonna go on, and he'll be back with with his little surprise. All right, let's see. Lee, did you read?
I will, and Maya also has another poem to share.
Okay.
All right.
Well, so we hear you first, Lee, and then come back to Maya.
Sure. Resurrection by Lee Macmillan Hayes. To walk into a cemetery on a summer day and find an insect metamorphosing upon a stone, I begin to understand the process of resurrection. A life well spent questing sap for sustenance prepares to crawl free of its past and reach for heavenly aspirations. Through a tiny slit, a spirit no longer contained emerges headfirst as a tendril shape develops, with bulging eyes to view a new world. Gradually, a pale tourmaline-colored body extends outward, with stained glass wings unfurling that provide baby steps toward freedom beyond. I mourn the loss of your former soul, but give thanks for a peek at your upcoming ascension from this place to the next. It is not for me to know when you will first use the gift of flight, as I didn't know when you would shed your old skin, and I quickly offer a small goodbye when I see your wings spread. I rejoice that I'll spend the rest of the summer listening to your raspy love songs, playing nature's lullabies upon violin strings from above. On this day, I celebrate the secrets of a cicada's life, dying to the old ways and rising to new, while I wander among the graves of others who have done the same.
All right.
It is wonderful, Lee, really. It's so beautiful. You have like a whole life of being in nature in such an intense way. And have you poems about some of the things that you're observing, that you go out and observe?
Could you say that again? You kind of bleeped out there.
I just wondered if you've written, do you write, beside writing in, you know, taking notes on observing, have you written other poems about things that you are interested in nature?
Yes, and they're all on my blog.
Oh, good. Okay. I have to learn. You'll tell me personally how to do that. Okay. Good. That's great. Wonderful. That's a very strong poem too, and just so vivid, and each of the senses engaged again, like in such a way, and making it accessible to the reader who might not be so familiar with the science of it as you are. What did other people think about Lee's poem? Did you have other comments?
I thought it was great. It was like a saga, like a story, you know. You can really get a sense of its journey, and you know.
You could, because you're moving through it, and the imagery is so strong that you can really see it and feel it as you go along. Other people's comments about that? her poem?
I'd like to hear it again because I'm remembering parts of it, but I
Yeah.
need to get it to
It's very
flow.
hard. Yeah.
All right. One thing to read someone else's poem once or twice or 3 times, but it's different to read your own.
Yeah.
Resurrection. To walk into a cemetery on a summer day and find an insect metamorphosing upon a stone, I begin to understand the process of resurrection. A life well spent questing sap for sustenance prepares to crawl free of its past and reach for heavenly aspirations. Through a tiny slit, a spirit no longer contained emerges headfirst as a tendril shape develops with bulging eyes to view a new world. Gradually, a pale tourmaline-colored body extends outward, with stained glass wings unfurling that provide baby steps toward freedom beyond. I mourn the loss of your former soul, but give thanks for a peek at your upcoming ascension from this place to the next. It is not for me to know when you will first use the gift of flight, as I didn't know when you would shed your old skin, and I quickly offer a final goodbye when I see your wings spread. I rejoice that I'll spend the rest of the summer listening to your raspy love songs, playing nature's lullabies upon violin strings from above. On this day, I celebrate the secrets of a cicada's life, dying to the old ways and rising to new, while I wander among the graves of others who have done the same.
Wow, that is so good on second reading. I can really
It is.
Yeah.
see that insect evolving, and your observation of it was so detailed.
But at the same time, it's like kind of relaxing to listen to, you know? Like the structure of it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
it's true.
Melodious too. Like,
It's
yeah.
like wandering.
I like how what it has in common with the tadpole poem, except that the tadpole poem, as you watched its metamorphosis, had a reflection on the viewer's life, my sense of what might my metamorphosis be, and your poem was more a sort of sense of looking at others and then their next selves, and it didn't really, you didn't necessarily put yourself into that, but it was more just an observation of all of those around you because you're in a cemetery as well. So there's that correlation. It's very beautiful.
Uh-huh. So the metaphoric meanings of it opened it up to levels.
And like was said just a few minutes ago, your detail of you use the word tourmaline colored something, I forget what, I thought that was excellent. And then the sting of the wings. I mean, there's a lot of shimmer and a lot of beautiful language, relating the color. I love that.
I was actually at cemetery number 4 last week when I watched the cicada, and it was just the way that they come. So it was on the back of a gravestone, and the way that they split open and come out, and the body's right there, just suspended. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a resurrection. And and then crawls out.
And they're such remarkable creatures because you see that exoskeleton left, clinging to the side of a tree somewhere, and then they fill everything with sound, and then they themselves are such interesting little creatures. They're very remarkable. They are.
They are. Yeah. And I was glad not to read after Gail, because when she read hers, I thought, oh wow, mine's just like that. I don't want to. Wow, that's hard. I can't follow that act.
Oh no, you followed it just fine, my dear. You did.
All the poems are wonderful, I have to say. They're just stunning. Great.
That is interesting to think how cicadas are quiet their whole lives and you don't know they're there until they're just so annoying. No.
Until you want to kill them.
I took Audra to the cemetery late this afternoon, and it was the first time she'd seen the exoskeleton. So
yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know they did that.
I didn't either. It was informative as well as poetic.
It's funny because growing up, my mother used to collect the exoskeletons and bring them in and line them up on the windowsill. And I'd never seen the actual creatures. I've only seen these little exoskeletons, and they were so kind of creepy and unusual. And then a few years ago, they had that sort of height of cicada season, and in our area, we live down in Jersey. They were, you could walk into certain parts of town. We're right by a reservation, and it sounded like construction was going on, but it was the cicadas. They were so loud. And there was one man walking the trails of the reservation that we ran to, who was picking up the cicadas themselves off the ground, and just like he was sticking them on his shirt because they would just hold on with their little like sticker like legs. And he was wearing basically a cicada shirt. It was the strangest thing, because here I'm seeing the actual bugs after having viewed their exoskeletons my whole life.
Terrifying.
We are doing that, Audra. We should take the Lovell Rec kids to the cemetery.
New Jersey.
Yeah, on,
We can
yeah,
do
on
a great
Halloween.
Lovell at cemetery number 4.
Oh yeah. Good.
On Halloween.
I don't know if they'll still be around, but what a thing. Well, maybe just make a little. I mean, have you been collecting them for people to look at carefully? No.
Oh, but maybe I should.
Yeah, I think so. But the poem works very, very well, and it's just beautiful. All right? Is there anyone here who hasn't read yet?
Yeah.
It is.
Did you decide?
Oh yes, but one. I think she's going to read, right?
Oh, okay.
Is she reading?
Is my
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay. Then
Just
we'll-
decided. She has some. She has a sweet poem that she wrote when she was 11.
So
Great.
my mom made these things for us called memorabilia boxes, which are filled with like our old belongings. And for me, I have a whole box of just old writing. So I recently pulled a bunch of those out, and I'm actually gonna at some point go through them and see if I can make some of them into like kids' books, because they're kind of cute.
Oh, great.
But I found one old poem and I typed it up, and it's called A Seed. So I felt like it kind of fit the theme. Oh, they don't need to see my face.
There you
That's
are. There she is.
okay. But it's called A Seed. And I wrote it when I was 11-ish. Wind blows through the trees. Wind blows through the leaves, making music for the bees. As they go buzzing round, a boy plants a seed in the ground, wondering what it will be. Seed sprouts on its own. Oh, how the boy has grown. The bees became quiet through the years. One day the boy appears. Before him is a tree. See how time flies. One day the boy will die, but here the tree will be. It's the whole poem.
Wow, that was so impactful. That was awesome.
It's amazing you were so young when you wrote it.
I like your
Yeah.
wordplay on the word bee.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Great.
This is great.
Guys,
So-
I just found a poem and I want to read it to you as well, but let's keep commenting.
Can you read that again, Maya? Up, you're mute.
What did you say?
Could you read it again?
Yeah, sure. Wind blows through the leaves, making music for the bees. As they go buzzing round, a boy plants a seed in the ground, wondering what it will be. Seed sprouts on its own. Oh, how the boy has grown. The bees became quiet through the years. One day the boy appears. Before him is a tree. See how time can fly. One day the boy will likely die, but here the tree will be.
I think it's really sophisticated.
Yeah.
The metaphor works all the way through it.
Mm-hmm.
It's really something.
It is.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Thank you for reading that out loud. Is there anybody else who hasn't read anything, who's right here in the corner or anything? I don't-
Who's hiding behind the screen. Audra had a poem. She wanted to read it. Bob had a poem.
Yes, I have a poem. Okay, so I'm gonna read it to you guys. It doesn't really have any structure to it.
No, it is.
Okay, so I wrote this as a sophomore in high school. It was for an English assignment, so like I had to do it. But we just finished. We had to read the Bible for like analyzing the story, not like for religious, but like whatever. And then okay, so I'll just start. It's called A Field of Flowers. I met her in a field of flowers as I watered my flock. She stood tall and pretty, but was devastatingly barren on the inside. I worked 7 long years to marry her, and slaved day and night only to have been conned by her father. So I worked some more for 7 long years, and when I finally got her and confessed my lust for her, there was something not quite right with her. So to make her happy, I had children with her sister. Leah was a jealous one and fell in love with my debonair self. For some reason, she still was not happy. She needed more children to love. I laid with the servant girls, and more sons of mine were born. One day there was a miracle. The heavens gave Rachel a child. So then Joseph and Benjamin were born, and the sons of Rachel, they were my favorites. Oh, and as the sons of Rachel, they were my favorites, and life was good. The price for my second son was the loss of my dear Rachel. She died on Benjamin's birthday. I was so sad to see my love had left me, and I carried her body to the land of Canaan. She now rests in a tomb made of mortar and stone, decorated with bright lapis lazuli, and surrounded with our flocks. And I am like how I was when I first met her, only now devastatingly barren on the inside and work lonely in a field of flowers. So yeah, thank you. It's long.
You have it all down pat. That's the thing. So it's actually kind of biblical.
Yeah,
Twists,
it had to be. The assignment was to like make it about a Bible story, so I just picked one. It was about
They're pretty juicy. Those Bible stories.
Yeah, but the point, I know. The point was of the poem was to be like, the woman Rachel, she couldn't have kids, but like they were in love or whatever, and then just like they had like a hard life that was kind of tragic, and at the end, like he was the one who was barren.
Yeah, I liked how
because he lost his love. Yeah.
I like that ending.
I mean, I read it kind of badly, but I just wanted to share it with you guys. I think that's like the only poem I've ever written. But yeah, there we go.
It was cool.
Yes, you did it very well. This is great. Well, Marie would like to read something.
Yeah. Can I sit on that chair?
With me?
There he is.
I'd like to read a poem that Judy wrote, Judy Steinbergh, and it's from her book, A Living Anytime, which looks like this with a Matisse painting on the cover. And the name of this poem is Keezer Lake, Once in October. Once we came in October. It was too cold, really. It was meant to be a summer place, but the pleasures of August to be abandoned. Leaves dipped their gold tips to the lake's edge, pushing off gold medallions along the onyx surface. On Blueberry Mountain, the sky yawned wide to all the ranges of 2 adjacent states, and the old apple grove dropped its sad, pungent fruit in the pasture. In the brilliant night, we pulled on wool pants and parkas, wrapped ourselves in quilts, and paddled to the middle of the lake to see Andromeda spin out like talc. From the stern, you bent toward me. I was facing forward and only sense you shift your weight. I turned around, you rose. Kiss me, you said, and no wonder. All this bitter sweetness of the autumn days, constellations we had never seen so deeply, the uncluttered loving of middle age. You took a step, eagerly, reaching, The old town listed slid beneath the oily surface and slow like a whale. We leaned and lay down in the black water. All this without a sound. As I said, it was night in October. No one was in the lakeside camps. We had enough goose down to climb Mount Everest, and it was rapidly sucking up the lake. We left the swamped canoe and peeled away some layers, pushing and dragging them along. Twice you didn't answer when I called. I couldn't see to save you, and even if I could, I had to clutch the faded quilt. Alone at night in the main lake where one of us drowned, the headlines read, "In an accident no one could explain." At the rocks, I grasped the weeping aspen. You struggled out behind. This is how so much well-intentioned loving ends, shivering and speechless. We lugged our soggy garments down the waterline.
Thank you, honey.
Wait, did you write that?
I wrote it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a beautiful poem. I love the part about the sky yawning.
I like the.
Oh.
And also, your voice is great to read poetry.
Thank you.
I knew that was coming. I knew the minute that she felt your weight shift and you leaned forward.
Yeah.
I knew it was coming.
Do you know the way a canoe capsizes? It just sort of slides under you. And there you are in the water.
We're still living. I want you to show that on the page, because this is a whole book I put together of prose poems, which in a way, like they're a push it up. Do you see it? They're all like they're not lyrical in lyrical style. They're more like blocks of prose, and it's a sort of halfway point between writing a prose story and making a lyrical poem very tight. So just a looser way. And when I was writing this book, which was a long time ago now, I didn't know it was going to be a book, but that style of writing just was in my head all the time. And so many activities that I was engaged in just got to be in that style because it was in my head that way. So prose poems, and you've probably seen, many people write in that style too. And it just gives you a little leeway between writing a whole short story or novel and, keeping to poetry.
What is the name of it?
Keezer Lake, Once in October.
No, the book. The book.
A Living Anytime.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to explore prose poetry more, because that seems more up my alley.
Huh?
Prose poetry. Yeah. Seems fascinating to me.
You know what I noticed about that poem is it's kind of like gives you the sense of the changing seasons, and then the changing of the constellations, and then the changing of the relationship, which is just so drastic and then depressing. But it's pretty cool. It's creative,
You are very perceptive, really, I have to say.
Thanks.
It's wonderful to hear your comments. That's great. Really. Are you the one who's going off to school?
Yeah, I leave on the 18th.
You're going to Michigan or something?
Mount Holyoke. It's in Massachusetts, yeah. I don't know, we'll see.
Well, I think you'll like it.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, I registered for classes, but a lot of them are like so full already, so. but I hear that's normal and things will calm down.
Did you register? Is it too early in your career there to register for a writing class?
Yeah, I have to take, first year seminars and intro classes.
Oh, well, it'll be
But
fun.
I would love to take a writing class eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens
I'll
when
see
you're a freshman. You're kind of the bottom of the barrel when it comes to picking classes, and then later on in your career, you get more selection. It's nice.
Yeah, we'll get there. That's
Yeah,
great. Oh, you know what else they'll have is they will have a literary magazine, and they will have some writing groups that are outside of class. So just look and see if there's something that appeals to you in that way.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'll be interested to hear next summer how it went.
Well, I wanted to say I've got to sign off now, but I've thoroughly enjoyed my time here and meeting all of you. And thank you, and I hope you have more of these.
And we thank you for joining us, Gail, and we hope that you have my email address and Judy's email address, perhaps, and that you'll send us copies of your poems when you're ready to publish them.
Okay.
That would be
Sounds
great.
good.
This has been fun just because even though it's a small group, it's really intimate, and I think we've all gotten to know each other a little bit.
Yeah.
Judy, do you want to keep going for a few more minutes? I don't know where everyone's at. We had said 6:30.
I found your book online at Amazon, but it's a used copy for $35. Where else are you selling it?
What I have what I still have in stock, but why doesn't Lee send me your address and a note about a living anytime, and I'll look around at home. Okay. Yeah.
Sure, I really enjoy it.
Better. But
Make sure you sign up.
Of course, just make sure I have your name and address and so forth. Yeah.
I'll do that.
Thank you, Lee. That's great. I think it's I'm always just delighted with the people who are interested in writing in this area, and everybody is so willing and write about their lives in a very eloquent way. So it's been wonderful. And we'll still be here till the end of August, so maybe we'll see you in a couple other places, or maybe not, given online.
Recognize us with our masks on, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I have bought some more masks from that woman who is the seamstress, right?
Diane. Yeah.
Yes, you'll see me walking around in her pretty masks. That's great. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Lorelei and Maya. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, great poems, Maya.
Thank you.
All right, I'll see you guys.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right. I don't know how you go. It's down here, right?
Well, yeah. Hold on.
Oh.
You can click that.
Yeah. Is anything else, Lee, that